Welcome back to the channel. It's time to talk about the very best comic books that you can buy this week, the creme de la creme. And here to talk to me about that is Gabe from Weird Science DC and Comical Opinions. How you doing, Gabe?
I'm doing fantastic, Wes. Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to talking positively about comics. I had a stutter there. Yep.
So we've got 3 indie books. We got a Marvel comic book to talk about and 2 DC comics to get to. Let's talk about my first indie comic book recommendation, TMNT Saturday Morning Adventures #2 from IDW. Eric Burham writing, Tim Lottie on art. This is absolutely the best TMNT comic book that you can get your hands on. The current run from IDW is not very good. This is all about the cartoon era of TMNT that we all enjoyed as kids. It's a lot of nostalgia. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of zany adventures. If you're looking for something really deep and complex, you will not get this here. But if you're looking for the original incarnation of the Turtles in the cartoon itself, fighting with Shredder, with Rocksteady and Bebop, we also get Krang. We get an appearance from the TMNT blimp. The Turtles are on the blimp and all that stuff. A lot of fun to be had in here is something that you can actually give to your kids, which we don't see all that much anymore these days.
If you're into the original cartoon series, which just came after Eastman published the black and white comic, I mean, this is pure nostalgia fun. And if IDW would do more of this, which is homaging the cartoon era of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they're knocking it out of the park with G.I. Joe, the Saturday Morning Adventures. If they would do more of that, I think IDW would be in a much better place right now. So if you're looking for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fun that's really builds upon the classic cartoons, you're probably going to like this one a lot.
Absolutely love that series. Really enjoy that take. I love the TMNT comic book. Love the TMNT cartoon. This is the perfect marriage of the two. You're recommending Vampirella Vs Red Sonja #1 from Dynamite. Dan Abnett, Alessandro Rinaldi on art here. The big team up book. Love seeing Dan Abnett come into some characters like this. He's very good with strong female characters. He gets 2 of them here. Bring him into a big team up book for Dynamite.
Some people may not figure out too quickly what's going on in this comic, but I'm recommending it anyway because I love what Dynamite is doing with this incarnation of these 2 characters. This is actually a merging of 2 prior series or miniseries that Dynamite was doing with Red Sonja and Vampirella, where they were interacting with the Project, as in Project Superpowers from Alex Ross. So this issue brings those 2 storylines together, where you have Red Sonja and Vampirella kind of on opposite sides of that argument about what is real and what is not, and what is science and what is supernatural, working with the Project because one of the Earths, especially the one that Black Terror comes from, is being devastated by supposedly a supernatural force. And the supernatural is something that's new to the Project. Everything they do is science-based. So they don't quite believe it, and they have to bring it all together. And Abnett just weaves all those separate storylines together simply, efficiently, beautifully, perfectly. And these are sort of slightly different takes on those 2 characters, but now they're on sort of opposite sides of a particular argument, and they have to come together to fight a supernatural force. Maybe, we'll see. But as far as bringing these disparate lines together and giving some characters kind of a little bit of a new life, and also expanding their universe at the same time to make them interconnected, this is a great book. I enjoyed this comic a lot. The art is maybe not my personal taste, but the story was firing on all cylinders, and I love what Abnett's doing with this particular comic book.
If you like your comic books a little bit more old school, Dynamite might be the publisher for you. They've got some older characters there, but they definitely have some different style flavor going on that definitely differentiates it from the rest of the comic book publishing industry. Another comic book you're recommending, Dead Kingdom #2, Red 5 Comics, Etienne Derepatini. I hope I got that name right. I have not heard about this comic book. I'm not even sure what this is. Is it any good?
Yeah, what it is, and I think I've talked about this on a prior video. Dead Kingdom is from Red 5 Comics. It's a story about a plague that takes over the Dark Ages in the middle of Europe, and you follow this character named Kane, who's a sort of a battle-weary soldier who's been brought in to investigate what's happening in this plague. And it turns out the plague is turning people into flesh-eating zombies. So it's the zombie story, but it's set in the Dark Ages and in the Middle Ages. So it has that medieval flair to it, but it's also mixing in kind of the modern zombie trope at the same time. This issue is interesting in particular because this highlights that zombie trope of the humans sometimes can be more dangerous than the zombies. And that's certainly true in this case. So Kane, the main character, not only has to fight his way through zombies to get back to his village and to get back to the woman he loves, is now he's encountering these people who are panicked, who are scared, and in some cases becoming outright dangerous, and he has to fight his way through all that. So good action, good pacing, good dialogue. It all works together. And if you like zombie horror, but with a little bit of a twist, you're going to like this one too.
Very nice. Now that you mention it, I do remember. It's very hard to get your hands on Red 5 Comics here in the Philippines. Definitely need to search that one out when it comes out in trades. Let's go over to Marvel Comics with a surprising recommendation. I didn't have any plans to check out Tiger Division #1, Emily Kim Crease Lee. I have heard good things about Emily Kim in the past, specifically her Silk Run, but I didn't know what this comic book was there for. It didn't feel like it had a purpose within the Marvel 616, but it sounds like your mind was changed.
I honestly didn't have any expectations going into it. I wasn't quite sure what it was about. I did read Emily Kim's Silk Run, which was okay. I wasn't blown away by it, but it was decent enough. So Tiger Division is a team of superpowered individuals brought together by a government agency in Korea. And what I found so interesting about this comic is you have a team of about 6 people and their government handler, and it introduces them so well, so efficiently, and so clearly that you get who these characters are individually before it brings them together as a team. And it starts off with this disaster with a cruise ship that's on fire, and they have to rescue everybody. You get a sense of their powers, their personalities, their capabilities, and what they bring to the team before it shifts into the main story. And it's just really well structured, really well laid out. All the characters have their unique quirks and personalities and abilities, and I was kind of impressed as a character set or a group set of people coming just out of the blue, where you have no background whatsoever. You really get a really strong handle on what Emily Kim brought to this universe, and I kind of enjoyed it. So I want to give it a soft recommend at least.
Definitely check for that one out if you're looking for something cool at Marvel Comics. It feels like they're a little bit down right now. Now let's go over to DC, and it's all about Batman at DC Comics. Over half their comic books feature Batman in one way or the other. And we're going to talk about 2 Batman comics. First up, Batman 129, Chip Zdarsky, Jorge Jimenez, the continuation of the Failsafe story. This is a pretty hard-hitting comic book, not a lot of depth to it. They're not exploring the characters, none of that stuff that's already been done in previous issues. Now it's Failsafe has taken over Gotham, which already puts Batman in a bad place. But now Failsafe is kind of upping the ante because he's going out there and he's capturing the other members of the Justice League, other heroes in the DC Comics universe, basically making Batman come to the fight and meet him on the field of battle, even though Batman has 0 chance of ever defeating this enemy.
The key to the success of this issue is pacing. The pacing is relentless. Failsafe goes after Batman, who he finally figures out has been hiding out in Atlantis with Aquaman. And once he goes after him, he does not let up, not even for a minute. And so what you find that Batman is doing is you have Failsafe, who knows everything that Batman knows and knows how he thinks. Batman is forced to just find little opportunities within a second, a couple seconds, sometimes it's just 30 seconds, but find some way to outthink Failsafe and try to survive. And that cliffhanger, once you get to the end of it, there's a cliffhanger, and it is one of those cliffhangers you're like, there's no way Batman can get out of this. Something magical needs to happen, or somebody's got to come along and save the day, but there's no way Batman, with preparation or not, is going to find his way out of this cliffhanger, and it's a doozy. It really is.
The Failsafe story arc from Chip Zdarsky has been very, very powerful stuff. It's too bad they're repeating so many tropes that we've seen the past 3 or 4 years, because he's doing it at a much better or a much higher quality, in my opinion. It's too bad this wasn't like the big event that DC's doing. This feels so much more impactful than Dark Crisis right now. The other comic book we have to recommend, Batman and Joker, The Deadly Duo #1, Mark Silvestri, finally delivering his Batman comic book that we've been hearing about for so many years. The art in this thing is absolutely amazing. I love the way it looked, but I was so impressed with the voices of the characters, whether it be Batman, whether it be Joker, Catwoman, Harley Quinn. All the characters felt natural to the DC Comics universe. Even Harvey Bullock, who's just a throw-in a lot of times, felt like a true interpretation of Harvey Bullock. The story is too short. It is paced very fast, but my goodness, does he get these characters.
Yeah, he nails the character voices. So credit to Mark Silvestri. Now, the big legend about this particular comic is it's been in the works for years. There's all kinds of stories and rumors and innuendo about why it's been delayed, but it's finally here. The story is solid. You have a murderer that's running around. All signs point to the Joker. That may be true, that may be not. I'm not going to spoil it. You have to read the comic. But he nails the voices. He even works in an opportunity for Batman to tell a joke or two that fit within Batman's voice. So that nothing feels forced, nothing feels thrown away. And of course, the big draw here is Mark Silvestri's art, which is phenomenal. You can't beat this art. It's gritty, it's stylized, it's powerful, it's just energetic on every single page. So if you like Silvestri's art and you want a good, rock solid Batman story, you're going to like this one a lot too.
It reads very fast. It's very fast paced, but it's absolutely fantastic. It looks like $1 million. If Mark Silvestri had broke in with DC Comics instead of Marvel, I think right now we would be debating whether or not he's the best Batman artist of all times. It's too bad that he never really got a big run on the character, but I'm glad to see it. Absolutely fantastic stuff. And I do want to say thank you very much to Gabe Hernandez for joining me today and talking about the very best comic books of the week.
Thank you, Wes. I appreciate it. And of course, if you're looking for me or the folks that I work with, WeirdScienceDCComics.com, WeirdScienceMarvelComics.com, and of course, for me personally, the site that I run, ComicalOpinions.com. Happy to be here.
And if you would like more information on Batman and Joker, The Deadly Duo, I actually did a full review. I don't really spoil anything. I just talk about the stuff that works so well. If you need more convincing, definitely check out this video. Love this comic book. It's not 5-star, but it's actually pretty damn close. If it was a little bit longer, maybe, definitely check this one out. If you don't see it here, there's also a link in the video description.